This is Tokyo. Over 10 million people make it the world's largest, most densely crowded, most rapidly growing city. Heart of the economic miracle which has made Japan the only modern nation outside the West. Since 1952, Japan's national income has tripled. Tokyo by night, a blaze of light. More neon signs than any city in the world. More movie theaters, more cafes. Traditional kabuki theater plays to eager thousands, bent on diversion. Entertainment and leisure activities boom as never before. Television covers the nation. By night and by day, Tokyo is an appalling jam, choked with people and vehicles. The number of cars and trucks increases by thousands each month, and still there are not nearly enough to satisfy the demand. Major traffic jams of 2 and 3 hours occur daily. Tokyo is a jumble of signs and shops, inadequate streets with no names. Wooden houses packed tightly together, with meaningless numbers or none at all. Housing of all kinds in acutely short supply. Department stores, smart shops. Fashions appear on the Ginza in Tokyo the same day they do in Paris or New York. Anything in all the world you may wish to buy is here. More books are published, sold, and read per capita in Japan than in any other country. New buildings rise wherever land can be found to build them on. The city pushes upward and outward, growing wildly, space becoming more and more precious each day. On trains which carry 3 times their capacity, commuters travel farther and farther. Many spend 5 and 6 hours a day going back and forth to work. The overworked Japanese railways are marvels of efficiency. Super express trains travel up to 156 miles per hour. A park, an island of serenity amidst the clamor of the city. Silent stones huddle in memory of crowds departed. The Imperial Palace grounds in the heart of Tokyo, home of a constitutional emperor. The Diet, government buildings. Tokyo is the capital of a democratic nation, firmly committed to a system of free enterprise and thoroughly aware of its benefits. The vast Tokyo-Yokohama industrial complex accounts for 30% of the nation's industrial output. The important industrial centers of Japan are all located near the sea for rapid handling of exports and imports. Scarce in natural resources, Japan must import most of the materials needed by industry. The Awata Maru has just dropped anchor in Yokohama Harbor. Aboard, a cargo of chemicals from San Francisco. Akito Nishimura is worried. His son Hiroshi is worried. An impatient customer, a textile manufacturer, needs these chemicals today, or a factory must shut down for want of raw materials. Go out to the ship. Arrange to discharge cargo now instead of tomorrow as scheduled. Try to do in a day what would normally take 3. Akito Nishimura works for one of Japan's giant trading companies, which import raw materials from all over the world and export manufactured goods in exchange. Hiroshi spends time learning the trading business when he's not in school. Trade is the lifeblood of Japan, the indispensable heart of the economy. If Japan could not trade with other nations, her economy would collapse and her people could not live. It is the cargoes of vessels like the Awatamaru which have built modern Japan. Check the manifest. See how much can be unloaded and delivered before nightfall. Problems like those faced by Akito Nishimura are commonplace in a nation almost completely dependent on other countries for the raw materials necessary to feed her industries. Japanese industry is divided into two sorts of companies. One is large and modernized, one in which the productivity of the labor force has been greatly increased by large capital investment in machinery and advanced techniques. The average worker is relatively well paid, receiving twice the wages of the worker in the more traditional type firm. The Sato bag factory, operated in the Sato home, has little capital investment, and in sweatshop fashion relies on cheap wages and long hours to make its products competitive. Great inequality exists in almost half the labor force, as remnants of old ways and an old Japan persist. Yet in spite of low wages, there are luxuries. The Japanese possess more consumer appliances per family than the people of any other country except the United States. Of tremendous importance in their economic growth is the fact that the Japanese have created the first genuine mass consumer market outside the Western world. The 95 million people of Japan now enjoy a national income second only to the United States and the more prosperous nations of Western Europe. The Japanese people themselves are able to buy the products of their industry. Akito Nishimura is typical of the urban white-collar worker. His income is about the same as that of the better-paid laboring man. The old traditions are still much a part of the Nishimura way of life. A bath in the evening and the servility of a gentle wife are rewards for the day's hard work and worries. Mr. Nishimura earns about $2,000 a year, plus numerous fringe benefits. To be presentable outside the house, the Nishimuras are likely to make many sacrifices at home. They will occupy perhaps 2 drafty, sparsely furnished rooms. The budget allows but a cup or so of the cheapest sake or rice wine a day. The traditional meal is chiefly rice, fish, and vegetables, often attractively served. Major changes, however, are taking place in the Japanese diet, with more meat and dairy products being consumed each year. At night, the table is pushed to one side and bedding spread on the straw mats. 3 times as much money is spent on clothing for the family as is spent on rent. Most Japanese economize rigidly on food and housing and indulge a modest craving for luxuries elsewhere. The Nishimuras have television and a washing machine and may soon buy an automobile on credit. Hiroshi attends one of the nation's best universities. Entrance into certain highly regarded universities is extremely difficult. Still, every 3rd or 4th young man of 20 is now in college. Only the United States and Israel have a larger proportion of their young people in higher education. Education is one of the most important single factors responsible for Japan's very rapid development. The nation is nearly 100% literate. A large percentage receive training at the university level. The labor force is highly skilled.
Let's tape our lesson tonight, shall we?
Education continues. In hundreds of companies, employees meet at noon hour or after work to study languages, mostly English.
Today we study lesson 14. First question is, what do we do when we want to see our friends?
We call on them. Usually we make appointment by telephone call, but in case of close friends, we may attack them.
Second question.
Young people grow in a world vastly different from the one their parents and grandparents knew. With ideas, customs, and methods drawn from the Western world, a new kind of society, a new kind of life has been imposed upon a very old one. Festivals and pageants recall the feudal past and centuries of medieval isolation. For 250 years, Japan deliberately and purposely secluded herself from all the rest of the world, little knowing or caring what men thought or did elsewhere. Few foreigners were allowed to come in, few Japanese permitted to leave. Not until 1853 did the doors open to the outside, to the West, with its advanced ideas and technology. Japan's development into a modern nation becomes all the more remarkable when it is remembered how very recently she entered the modern world, how late her industrial revolution began, only 100 years ago. The palaces and castles of feudal lords who ruled harshly still stand in Kyoto and Osaka. The traditions and customs which developed over these centuries of isolation were peculiarly their own, uniquely Japanese, little influenced by other nations. In the dramatic arts, in architecture, which produces such a feeling of harmony and tranquility. In painting, in the various arts and crafts, the Japanese contribution has been so important that the world is the richer for its presence. A peculiarly Japanese feeling for things has survived 100 years of westernization. The culture and essence of an older Japan remains today amidst violent change. Old institutions go on, and the Japanese spirit, much of which is so admirable, remains timeless and tranquil as the meditations of a monk. Serious problems arise out of the conflict between tradition and new Western ways. The rising young urban generation has set about turning the old social order upside down. A newfound spirit of independence for the young conflicts often violently with the old, accepted norms of subservience to parents and unquestioning obedience to their wishes. Confusion, restlessness, and serious social problems result as people who work, dress, and think according to Western custom feel sharply at the same time the influence of their own history and culture, which is fundamentally non-European, uniquely Japanese. There is a feeling of being always at odds with oneself. Mrs. Nishimura is expected to be modern and Western, but to be so often means a denial of much that she holds sacred, a denial of much that is best in her own tradition. The people of Japan are trying to learn how to be Western and how to be Japanese at the same time. It is not an easy thing. Already a modern nation, Japan now must prove that she can become the first society in the world, both truly modern and yet fundamentally non-European. As Asia's prime symbol of industrialization, the Japanese have tested Western methods and values and proven that the policies of a free economy and democratic form of government can generate very fast economic development on non-Western soil. They have achieved a standard of living far beyond that of most of Asia's poverty-stricken millions. Japan, a proud example to Asia and to all the world that freedom, education, and hard work can accomplish miracles.